Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk movies, television, and wrestling. I'm, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lamone, and this is my review for Paradise Season 2, Episodes 1, 2, and 3. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Sure, I'm to leave a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts on Paradise, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into it, shall we? So, I got onto Paradise Season 1 relatively pretty late. Like, it was a few months after the show first aired. I always heard great things about it. It was just something I was going to get to at some point. And when I did, boy, did I have a big sense of FOMO out, because it would have been so good to watch that show and be a part of the engaging community, to be like, okay, who do you think did it? Who are your list of suspects and all that? And overall, you know, the reveal of the whodunit portion of it was overall a little bit disappointing, but still overall a great show. And I was really excited to go back into it here for Season 2. And normally, I am not a huge fan of the 3-episode format when they do a release. I think The Boys is at least doing 2 this season later on, but they're a big component of it. And at some point, it just feels like you need the 3 episodes to fully get invested within the season. And that's why they do it, which, okay, at that point, use it to your strengths, right? To really tell out the story. But this show, however, they went a different route. I really do feel like all 3 of these episodes could have stand on their own all the way through. I do kind of get why they did 1 and 2. I even to a degree understand 1, 2, and 3, just so that you can cover all the bases without the format of how this show went, because they started very, very bold. And in the sense that, okay, we are not going to introduce any of the characters that you already know until episode 2 and then episode 3. And at first, I wasn't fully on board with that. Like, getting to know Annie and seeing her before the end of the world, right? When everyone was about to head out to the bunker, or what the people are going to do outside. I was intrigued to see how the world was outside for the people who survived, no doubt. But I was not down for first episode off the bat to be fully just immersed in it and living in it. But I gotta say, once she's starting to do the tours at Elvis's house, and then the world collapses, and then she's stuck under the basement. That's how she was able to survive with her friend. And you know, they were doing day 2, day 3, day 4, and then eventually I got to think to day 45 when a friend died. I was fully on board with the character of Annie, to the point where, you know, the sun comes out, she's able to feel it. And, you know, she's having things open. She's watering plants. And then those guys come in. I was exactly like her. My guard was super up. I was thinking super post-apocalyptic, like kind of like Last of Us. Hey, don't trust anyone. If they break in, you shoot no matter what. Did not understand why she went upstairs. I was like, girl, what are you doing? And here they come. Now, granted, Link did not have the best first impression. You know, I don't get why you pull her out from under the bed and then hold her down and be like, we're not the bad guys. You really did make yourself a little shady. And, you know, I get why she spat on him and everything like that. But once we focused on that relationship and building that up, seeing that, you know, almost like watching a cat learn to trust you, right? Now, because, you know, cats are usually, you know, dogs will be like, oh my God, I already love you. While cats are like, oh, I don't know about this guy, man. And then after a few visits, they're like, okay, yeah, no, I'll cuddle up with you. At least that's my experience when it comes to cats, even though I'm allergic. It's a really love-hate relationship. But, you know, her starting to grow more fond of Link, you know, that conversation they have on the balcony, then, you know, she takes them on the tour and, you know, they hook up. And then, you know, he has to leave and she can't find it in her heart to leave as well. It was very heartbreaking. And I was really attached to the relationship. I wanted her to leave. I was like, you have nothing left here. You found community with these people. These are good people. Go ahead and head to Colorado. And then this is where we get, excuse me, sorry. This is where we get our whodunit portion, or our mystery element of the show. Because Alex is brought up, not in episode 2, and not fully introduced until the end of episode 3, kind of like here at the end of episode 1. We have to kill Alex. Okay, now I already talked to Alex and everything's good. Who is Alex? And seeing how that is going to come into play here, because it's not, you know, the wife of our guy who gave away the plans in episode 3, because they're both dead. So I am very curious to see who the reveal of Alex is going to be. And hopefully this reveal is much better. But yeah, back to episode 1, really stand on its own. It was a big, bold move to do that because I was not that interested into being fully invested within that, to the point when we got to episode 2. Now we're going to focus on Xavier. I mean, I was happy to see my boy again, that's our guy. But I was kind of like, no, go back to Annie. I want to join that. I just want to keep progressing. I don't want to keep going backwards and seeing what he's been up to get to that point. I just want these characters together, and I want them to go on their journey. But seeing him and everything that he went through, how he dealt with those kids who were just kind of playing, standby mode until he passed out. Like, okay, now we could take his stuff. That was some good chemistry stuff. A little. I feel like creepiness for creepiness sake when they played very, very silent when they could clearly speak the whole time. I was like, okay, these are young kids. They probably lost their parents. They're trying to figure out their own way. They're probably the closest to animalistic as human beings as possibly can be in this type of post-apocalyptic world. I get it. They can't speak. And then later on, he's able to speak fluently. And I was like, then why are you being quiet, dude? Why did you bring this guy in if you weren't going to communicate or converse with him in any way whatsoever? I also really like the flashbacks in this episode. Yeah, episode 1 was more linear, and I would overall prefer that pace more than what we did in episode 2, which was more equivalent to what we know and love. Oh, yeah, here's in the current times. Okay, now we're going to go backwards and show some flashbacks, and then we're going to show, in some intercutting, they do have a meaning towards each other. But these flashback episodes, I did really enjoy on how he met his wife and how he got her to fall in love with him. That was very, very sweet, how, hey, my pain's only at a 5. Okay, he sees this pretty girl and he goes, hey, it's actually at 8. I think I need to stay here for a while. And seeing that chemistry back and forth was really good. It was a fine episode. It was partly, honestly, if I had to rank these episodes, it would go 1, 2, and 3. It got to the point, actually, when I got to episode 3, I wasn't really fully wanting to go back to Paradise whatsoever. I was fine staying on the outside. Okay, I got Kate. Oh, wow, I already forgot her name. Or is it Marie? But I just wanted to be with Xavier and her the whole entire way through. At this point, I did not need to go back to Paradise. But we go back to Paradise, and this was the episode that took me a minute to fully get invested within it. I was still engaged, don't get me wrong. Every episode, for the most part, went by relatively pretty quickly. This one ended very well. I'm glad that we got rid of the president already, because I was not down to deal with this guy for 8 episodes. Or 6 episodes, I should say. Because he was in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 6 episodes total. Was not down for it. The whole, he's let's cause summer. But if we do that, then we lose our time within the bunker because we have this set for 30 years. If you raise the heat, we lose those years. I don't care. The people want seasons. Who are you? And like any wrongdoing that he says, now granted that guy was kind of out of line. He was like, you fucking idiot. Although we were all thinking it. He just said it. But he's clearly running with an iron fist. If you say anything negative about him, he's a bit of a man-child in a lot of ways. Shout out to my girl Sabrina Carpenter, because when Sinatra finally wakes up and she is like fresh out of the hospital and she gets put in here and she's put in this lie detector, he's like, I'm not gonna be made looking like a fool. I'm the boss now. And how he just does not want to deal with the secretary whatsoever. I'm just gonna go for a run. No one's gonna come and attack me. Little did he know, our little assassin girl who plays very beta, but it's very much an alpha, was already planning on killing him. And I really like the dynamic of the Doctor and Sinatra now that the Doctor can't trust her. Now, in season 1, she was one of my favorite characters, but when it turned out, she was a heel this entire time, that kind of tampered her character for me a little bit. Not in a bad way. I think that was the intent of it, is that I'm not supposed to fully like this character anymore, because it was a little bit of a heel turn, to use wrestling terms on it. Because this whole notion of she's only mad because she wasn't informed, that doesn't sit right with me. Like, okay, so if she would have told you, you would have been fine with all this vile stuff that she's been doing to people. And I really thought throughout episode 3 that we were trying to turn Sinatra face or being a good guy, the person that we want to cheer for in here. And I just don't know if I was fully involved, wanting to be part of that, because again, I wasn't a huge fan of her. Now, I did grow a lot of sympathy for her, and when it got to the end and she's having that conversation, well, you know, our therapist is listening in on her and going, yeah, I already took care of the president. I was like, she's gangster, man. Like, you gotta respect the game. You know, she kills, because our girl kills her hitman at this point. Our girl Jane, I believe is her name, kills the president, sets up our other girl who's been onto her ever since towards the end of season 1, does her whole beta look like, oh my god, the president is dead and it was her, and I took him out, I got here too late, Hercules is down, and then Sinatra's going, yeah, I took care of the president, so what's next? How's Alex doing? I was like, oh man, even though I don't like the character Sinatra, she's gangster, man. Like, she is straight up gangster, mob boss type. I'm in. I mean, I absolutely love this 3-episode arc. Again, I understand why they did it. Okay, we're gonna focus on the new characters. Okay, let's get our main guy out of the way. Let's get on his journey. Okay, now let's go to Paradise. Now let's go full linear. Let's cut back and forth. I don't know if we necessarily need any more of the flashbacks. I know it's a good device that we did in season 1 to show, okay, here's what the world was. Here was the clicking doomsday clock, if you will, to the end of the world as to why we had to build this bunker. And then, you know, it was kind of the same structure, because I think episode 1 there wasn't many flashbacks either, because they were trying to present it as if this was the regular world, and then at the end it was the reveal, like, oh my god, they've been under this whole entire time. And then we had the flashbacks after that. Same with this type of structure. There's a lot of characters to get around, but now I think the flashback stuff is done. It was nice to see some of the characters that we had from season 1 to make them still feel like a presence, you know, like Pace, and of course our president, James Marsden, as well. It was always nice to see them. I just now think it's time to move on. Let's move forward. I want to get to that debate of, okay, are we going to Colorado or are we going to Atlanta? Or this constant back and forth between the two. Is there going to find a middle? Why is she pregnant? Well, I know why she's pregnant. Why didn't Link pull out? Like, that really, like, I don't care how much on the horizon that the world seems like it's going back to normal. You do not repopulate until maybe 10 years after that, to me personally anyway. But yeah, I am down. I cannot wait to go on this ride with y'all all the way through. Now at least we'll be going week to week. These do come out on Monday, and as y'all know on this channel, we have Monday Night Raw on Monday. So I'm not sure if these reviews would be typically a Tuesday thing or a Wednesday thing yet. Maybe we'll do a double reviews on Tuesday when it comes to Monday Night Raw in Paradise. But we'll see. We're gonna play it week by week when it comes to that. But we will be covering the show every single week, one way or another, unless something comes up, of course. You know, life does happen. But comment below, let me know your thoughts on this show. Leave a like if you made this far in the review. I do greatly appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button, as I am trying to grow into my YouTube career. And don't forget to squeeze the days, guys, because life is too short not to give your all. So squeeze every opportunity that you can. Until next time, I'll see you here at Limit Studios.